Top 10 Scariest Knockouts Ever Seen in MMA. MMA fans love to see fights finished. The quality of a card is often judged based upon how many fights wrap up inside the distance, and many will applaud major bouts ending in a matter of seconds. Still, there is a clearly defined line there. While a clean knockout or submission is a very nice thing, there have been many stoppages over the years that, for one reason or another, have made aficionados squirm in their seats. Here are the top 10 scariest knockouts ever seen in MMA. So before we start the video, please like and subscribe to our channel for future uploads. Let's start the video. Number 10. Matt Brown vs. Pete Sell, UFC 96. According to the official record, Brown won via TKO at 1:32 of the first round. In reality, however, he won at about 0:20 of the first round when he drilled Sell with two knees to the face that put him out on his feet. Unfortunately, out on his feet is rarely recognized by referees, and what ensued was a solid minute of uncontested beatdown. Brown pounded Sell from one end of the cage to the other, doing nothing more than surviving. Sell eventually collapsed, but even then, the stoppage didn't come until after Brown landed a few more punches. Number 9. Edson Barboza vs. Terry Edim, UFC 142. Barboza spun around, and every ounce of his body's momentum and weight crashed into his foe's skull through his heel. Edim immediately lost consciousness, his body and limbs as stiff as wooden boards seconds before he fell to the mat, with his eyes rolled all the way into the back of his head. It was the first spinning wheel kick KO in UFC history, and it was a terrifying sight with Edim lying on the mat as motionless and as stiff as a statue. Number 8. Joaquin Buckley vs. Impa Kasanganay, UFC 179. It was easily the knockout of the year in 2020 and will likely play on every future UFC marketing video for the next decade. At UFC Fight Night 179, Joaquin Buckley had a moment that will likely make his name stick in die-hard MMA fans' minds forever. Having his kick caught by Impa Kasanganay and then turning it into a jump spin kick knockout with the other leg added another level to the unpredictable nature of this sport. It may not have had division or historic relevance, but it will have staying power on KO lists forever. Number 7. Rashad Evans vs. Chuck Liddell, UFC 281. Instead, he became the recipient of a legendary knockout loss as midway through the second round Evans threw a devastatingly power overhand that rattled his brain so hard that he instantly collapsed face down on the canvas unconscious. Liddell was never the same fighter after that night and would be forced into retirement by Dana White after two more losses proved his chin was gone. Number 6. Scott Smith vs. Pete Sell, UFC 4. The Scott Smith vs. Pete Sell knockout is one of the top comebacks in UFC history. The fight is also one of the better knockouts you will see in the sport of MMA. The octagon is not the most buddy-buddy setting, but Scott Smith and Pete Sell developed a friendship on TUF. The two fighters put that mutual respect to the test in the season finale, which saw Smith take a mighty blow to the chest before immediately striking Sell in the face for the knockout. After the knockout blow is delivered, Smith immediately collapses to the ground in pain from the body shot. It was a back-and-forth fight-up until Sell landed this left hook to the body of Smith. Smith was visibly hurt and backed up holding his ribs in excruciating pain. Number 5. Gabriel Gonzaga vs. Mirko Cro Cop, UFC 70. Gabriel Gonzaga's career hit new heights when he leveled Mirko Cro Cop with a savage head kick in their UFC 70 matchup. While Gonzaga wasn't a showcase opponent for Cro Cop, given his 5-fight winning streak, he was supposed to be a manageable foe for Pride's 2006 Openweight Grand Prix champion. The dynamic shifted, however, when Gonzaga took Cro Cop down and pounded on him for an extended length of time. Number 4. Mike Perry vs. Jake Ellenberger, UFC 108. Once a genuine contender at welterweight, Jake Ellenberger had only mustered 2 wins from his previous 8 fights before his 2017 encounter with Mike Perry. By the second round of his fight with Perry, things were looking bleak as he was floored by a left hand. But worse still, Soon afterwards, Perry landed a huge elbow strike from the clinch that killed Ellenberger in stunning fashion and resulted in his head slamming off the mat on the way down. Number 3. Frank Mir vs. Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira, UFC 140. It doesn't get much scarier than a bone being broken cleanly in two. And the 2011 interim heavyweight title fight between Frank Mir and Antonio Rodrigo Nogueira saw that happen. The opening minutes of the bout saw Nogueira lighting up Mir with punches at range, which quickly turned into potentially match-ending strikes in the clinch, then on the ground. Number 2. Dan Henderson vs. Michael Bisping, UFC 100. Dan Henderson's right hand was once the MMA equivalent of an Aroldis Chapman fastball. At UFC 100, the Brit was unfortunate enough to eat what was likely the hardest punch of Henderson's entire career in the second round of The Ultimate Fighter Season 9 coaches bout. Bisping was clearly out cold as soon as it landed, but Hendo took it a step further by hammering him with a flying elbow as he laid unconscious on the ground. Number 1. Chris Weidman vs. Anderson Silva, UFC 168. UFC 168, in which middleweight champion Anderson Silva screaming on the canvas. After being outworked in the first round of his bout with Chris Weidman, the Spider upped his volume in the second, using the tool he had found the most success with, leg kicks. Weidman made the adjustment, checking Silva's second kick with his shin, and then checking the third with his knee. An agonizing snap rang across the arena on contact, and Silva fell back, clutching his leg. That's it for today. We hope you found our video interesting. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Also, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new uploads. In the end, thanks for watching, and see you next time.